What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Nerd Cave News, your one-stop shop for all the video game news that you need to know. I am one of your hosts, Zach Dykes, and I'm joined along with, he's worried about not getting your games done in time? Worry no longer. Just call the best gaming procrastinator in this time of the Troy Cable bandwidth, July Bingers.
What was the name? I caught Bingers.
July Bingers.
Don't you mean Julie Bingers?
Yeah, Julie Bingers. That's what it was. Julie Bingers.
There we go. I love it. I love it. Mainly because it was a playoff of last week, but I love it.
That was submitted by
procrastinator
Trey.
of games. I'm like, yes. That is my life.
That was submitted by our good friend over at True Boots Play, Trey. I'm not going to give out his last name because y'all will hunt him down. You'll hunt him down.
His last name is Bingers. Bingers.
Yep. Bingers. Julie Bingers.
Yeah.
I was like, I remember this from last week, but I forgot how we said it. So Julie Bingers.
Yeah. Don't include me in this.
Dude, I don't even remember last week's show. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's such a blur.
You know. Okay, I guess I know how much that means to you.
Whatever. Anyway, Julie Bingers. How can someone become part of the ship and part of the exclusive crew?
They can go to patreon.com/nerdcave, just like our wonderful crew members, Brandon Hicks, Richard Newell, Daniel Sanford, Rushing Waters Yoga, Conductor, Marilyn James, Martin Seger, and Brittany, the Granny Bee, Harrison.
And guys, you can go and find the Nerd Cave News on a variety of platforms such as Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. Watch us live each and every week for our pre- and post-show shenanigans, or you can go over to YouTube and watch the replay of the show. If you like bite-sized nuggets of gaming news, you can check us over on TikTok. Just search Nerd Cave Network on any platform and you will find us. Also, during the month of June and July, we are doing our game club of Horizon Zero Dawn, the complete edition. So make sure that you go and you get Horizon Zero Dawn. You become Aloy.
Hey.
What?
And make sure you play it consistently, unlike us.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm living vicariously through Dan right now.
Yeah, and Brandon.
And Brandon, yeah. So go and join that, guys. We've got Discord discussions going on about the game and everything. So come be a part of that discussion. But that is all of our housekeeping for this week. Are you ready? Are you ready, Derek?
I am ready. I am.
Apparently, Amy has clipped the Julie. See, Trey put it as July Bingers.
Mm-hmm.
So I read it as July instead of Julie. Not my fault. I was taught how to read, even though I stumbled literally over all of that.
You went to Troy University where we read.
We read. All right, here we go. The gaming discussion for the week, number one, at the top, Overwatch 2.
Yep.
Is to have some compromises on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, and because I forgot they had said Overwatch 2 was coming to Switch. Mm-hmm. At the same time, I was like, it's going to have some compromises. I'm like, on the Switch, you don't say.
Yeah.
It's just a powerhouse. Forget PC Master Race, go to Switch.
Yeah.
It'll have some compromises as spotted by The Gamer. The Overwatch development team participated in a Reddit AMA last month, and Reddit user Overwatch 2 fan asked if the game is still planned for Switch and if any compromises would be made for this new entry. Overwatch 2 technical director John LaFleur responded by saying that the current Switch model is, quote, more challenging than some to develop for, and there will be some compromises made to get it to run its best on the platform. Great question, LaFleur wrote. As hardware has advanced since the launch of Overwatch, we are extending the Overwatch 2 engine with more high end features. However, we're also working hard to make sure all of our platforms get the best experience, even in PvE. Switch is a little more challenging than some, and we'll have to make some compromises there. For that reason, some of the higher end visual enhancements might not be visible. We'll focus on making sure all of the gameplay related features get in first, and then accentuate with additional features as much as possible. These comments come at a time when rumors and reports of an upgraded Switch have been constantly popping up. If and when it is officially announced, it will be interesting to see if the improved hardware will make these compromises disappear.
Like, you know, it's the Switch. I'm
Yeah,
not, I'm not surprised or upset about it. You've got to make it run on a console that is selling like hotcakes, so it's not a big surprise.
right.
They could go with the cloud, side of things to help it,
Yeah, I'm
get to that.
surprised,
Yeah, I'm surprised that they're not doing that.
Yeah, because Guardians of the Galaxy is running on Switch via cloud.
Mhm.
Hitman 3 is running on Switch via cloud. I
Yeah.
mean, when they first did this, I don't think it's here in America. I think it's like in Europe. But heck, even Assassin's Creed Odyssey a couple years ago, they got it to run via cloud. It was like a test subject, and it
Mhm.
ran. I don't know how well it ran, but it ran on the cloud version of Switch. So it's like, why aren't more developers jumping on that bandwagon? But I guess they want to do physical sales and not just really, to appease retail partners. That's just my guess. Um,
Yeah.
but it will be interesting to see how much, because the first thing that popped in my head was The Witcher 3.
Mhm.
That's a massive game with a lot of detail. And when it was announced for Switch, I'm like, we both saw that E3 thing where it's like, I'm glad it's on there, but it doesn't look as crisp as the Xbox or
No.
PlayStation. That's for sure.
No, and the only thing I could think why it's not using the cloud for that side of things is the
Multiplayer.
connection. Yeah, the connection and everything that it takes for multiplayer has to take priority over the graphics of the game. So having
Hmm.
to, combat, okay, we've got the cloud that's making it look good, but we also have to, do multiplayer and everything. So I think, all the examples that we've listed are all single player. Like they're not
Yeah.
multiplayer, you know, laden games. So I think that might be why we're getting the compromised version of it. But it also it reaches the people. Like I remember Overwatch coming to the Switch and it's like, man,
Yep.
that's pretty awesome. Like if they had cross progression, I totally would get it for the Switch so I could just play sitting on the couch.
Right. Right. So, and I know the crossplay beta is out now. We talked about that last
Hmm.
week, but the progression does need to. I'm surprised there isn't cross progression because all you have to do is go into your like account on the PC, isn't it? Or like your battle.net account or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's what is on the PC side of things, but the PlayStation, like the console side of things, you haven't had that. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
yeah, you haven't had
Yeah.
to have that at all. Dan, thank you for the Prime subscription, 5 months running, buddy. Appreciate it. Um, but for me, like it is what it is. So I'm not, upset that we're getting a kind of watered down version of it. I'm glad that Switch users are going to get to play it and experience
Yeah.
Overwatch. I'd rather that than the alternative where they're not getting the game at all. So
Oh, 100%. So,
the game that everyone needs to be checking out that's multiplayer, guys, is
yep.
Knockout City. Knockout City.
That's our hot game right now.
Knockout City sets season 2 roadmap for July 27th. Will have new features and additions.
Yep. Has gone ahead and revealed its 2021 roadmap. Of course, July 2nd is when season 2 starts. Alongside the ongoing Heatwave event, players will also get access to a double XP event in the next few weeks as part of season 1. As for season 2, players will be greeted with a brand new ball, a new map, new crew contacts, 3 special events throughout the season, and 5 new playlists. Finally, the players will also get a new season theme, complete with new season contracts. Season 3 will then start this fall, with Season 4 beginning in winter 2021. You can see the full roadmap below. And I got there's a picture of it on here. It just says the same thing we talked about. It doesn't go into detail about the new ball type, but new ball, a new map, new contracts and new special events. That's going to be exciting. And I like how they're already going like fast paced, because we see, like, we talked about it months ago. Apex was like already planning season 9, and like that game's barely 2 years old. So it's
Mhm.
it's crazy to think like how fast of a turnaround they're doing for Knockout City. Now, granted, you can only drag a game like that, as like some content out for so long before people get sick and tired of it and get stale. So the fact that they already have like season 3 and 4 mapped out, at least for now, we know the track record of live service games doesn't always stick to its guns sometimes.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that, they've got new maps, because we've got
Hmm.
Galaxy Burger, we've got the construction
Hmm.
yard, we've got the like rooftop.
We've got the Metro one where like all the cars are
Yeah,
going
the
through.
metro one. So we've got four maps so far. And then
Yeah.
you've got like the hideout or whatever, um that you can, train and all of that. But we've got four maps so far. Like, each of them are pretty good. I know B
Yeah.
hates Galaxy Burger. But
I know.
we've got four. Adding, another map, just like, it helps keep it fresh. Adding a new ball, something that's going to, do some different things. uh did they say what kind of ball that they're adding?
No, it doesn't go into detail about what, because since it doesn't start till the end of the month, I'm sure they're going to give more details in the
Mhm.
coming weeks. But no, like, and I, and my thing is like, yeah, it's nice, but I want to know what they're going to add, because it's already a nice balance. We've got the moon
Mhm.
ball, we've got the cage ball, we've got the multi ball. What am I
Bomb.
forgetting? The
Y-
bomb ball, yeah.
and you got the
So,
sniper
I,
ball.
oh yeah, yeah, and the sniper ball too. So I want to know what they're going to add. Like, that would differentiate. Like, it's only one new ball, so I guess if we get one new, I guess they figured like, oh, we've already got so many variants, let's just not add too many more.
Yeah, Murdoch is saying ricochet ball. Would
Ooh, that would be nice.
That would be cool, to be able to rack up some more points or whatever. Um,
Yeah,
a good way to, like, when a team's like clumped up, you throw the ricochet ball in them, and like, it'll bounce between them, and knock a health off
yeah,
of them or whatever. And yeah,
yeah.
I
Like,
I agree. The sniper ball is probably my least favorite of all the
yeah,
balls. It just, like, the only thing that it's good at is, like, if you're close quarters and you throw it, like, people misjudge how fast it is or how slow it is, really.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that it just messes with your minds. But I'm excited to see that they are, like you were saying, they're putting more towards it, because you look at not Fallout, Fortnite, like, it took forever for like seasons to happen.
yeah,
Now it's kind of rolling and everything, but EA, I think,
yeah,
has had a long time to kind of really ponder and plan, like, how
yeah.
fast their live service
and
games are going to
and
go.
survey the land, like, just
Mhm.
see, let it gestate and see how they handle it. It's like, all right, they're taking too long, they're at a medium speed, let's go rapid fire.
Yeah, yeah. And like, as long as Knockout City stays true to the formula, and
Yeah,
just add some things here and there, I think we'll be fine. So I'm
yeah.
looking forward to the new features, the new map, the new ball, and the additions that we're going to be seeing. So I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yep.
You know what else I'm excited about?
What is
Our
that?
our third topic of tonight. Control is getting a bigger budget sequel and a multiplayer spin-off game.
Yeah, like, the other one, the multiplayer spinoff, is interesting because there was no multiplayer in the first game whatsoever. Bigger budget sequel is going to be, is an understatement. That game sold 2 million copies. So, and it was up for Game of the Year 2 years ago. Well, a year and a half ago, technically, but yeah. So it's deserving of a sequel. Like, I really loved it. I need to actually go back and finish it and play the DLC, especially the Alan Wake
What?
DLC.
You didn't finish
I
a
know.
game?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, isn't it? It never happens. I beat everything in a reasonable amount of
100% bit.
time. Exactly. Get the platinum on all of them. On all of them. but they're developing a 4-player multiplayer game in the world of Control called Project Condor. Speaking of the topic of the multiplayer PvE title series, director Mikhail Kasurinin said that, quote, "We get that there is going to be skepticism about multiplayer, but I believe we can create shared experiences without compromising the unique DNA of who we are, or the stories we want to tell. Yes, we need to rethink our angles, our techniques, our mindset, but we see it as an exciting challenge. What would a Remedy multiplayer game look like?" This news comes alongside reports that Epic is working with Remedy on a remaster of Alan Wake and a sequel to the cult classic, intended for multiple platforms. So, let's say. So, this seems like it's in the early stages for the multiplayer one. I assume I figure the multiplayer will come out first, whether it be in some beta form, whether some early access form, just to get people so they can learn how to finish the game probably. Because like it said, Remedy, and thinking about it, Remedy's pedigree has always been single player. They've never really done a multiplayer game, and I guess Control is like the best case scenario to do that with because of how the game mechanics are and like all the different powers and the different weapons, all that kind of thing, and the different enemy types. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see. I also hope that this doesn't it's following a trend. Like I get everyone wants to jump on the multiplayer bandwagon because we saw Sony, we reported on over a month ago that it was like, look, they want to take their IP and their first party studios and try to make multiplayer exclusives. And it's like, okay, guys, don't forget about your single player pedigree. Don't forget who you are. Dance with the one that brought you.
Yeah, like it feels like it is this trend with any kind of like gaming. It's like, okay, multiplayer's hot right now. Live services is hot. We saw it with MMOs. We saw it with open worlds. We saw it with RPGs. We've seen it over and over and over again. Yeah, FPSs, war, first person war games and all of that.
World War II games.
Yeah. And it's like, eventually it gets to the point where it's like, yeah, like do something innovative,
Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer. Like I'll play a good multiplayer game. Like I know we both like Overwatch. We both are loving Knockout City when we play it. There is a space for multiplayer games.
Yep.
My thing is my thing is like just do it right. Like don't do it just because the cool kids are doing it. Like if you have enough cool ideas, if you have people who are dedicated to the dream, to this idea that you're laying down, that's fine. And as long as you believe in what you're making, I'll be behind it 100%. But don't just do it to think you can make a quick cash grab.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And like with Control, I haven't played it, but I know, Remedy with Alan Wake, like one of my favorite games of all time. And with Quantum Break, I haven't played all the way through it, but I was really enjoying it, and I know you loved it as well. So like they've got the chops to make good games. It just is kind of interesting that they're doing multiplayer. So I'm curious to see if they, well, they're not owned by anybody. So it's
No, they partnered like on this last one because I know they were partnered with Xbox on Alan Wake and Quantum Break, but Control they kind of partnered with 505 Publishing to put out Control. So
yeah, so I was gonna say, like I know the coalition and all of that has been helping people, so I'd be like, oh well, they could do it, but they're not owned by Xbox, so that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a good point because I was gonna say they still could, but I don't know. With them doing like exclusive, because with Control they had exclusive skins and the DLC first came to PlayStation, so they probably soiled that relationship.
Yeah, I agree. Mardik says I haven't played the first one. From what I've seen and what people have said, the controller is really good. So I think
the only thing I had a problem with is the boss fights can get really ridiculously hard. Like not Dark Souls hard, but like some of the challenges. Like I was fighting this one boss and on the second stage, like every so often, like bits of the floor will fall because you're like on a platform and chunks of it will fall off, and I'm like, I can't dodge. Do all this, guard myself, and worry about the platform, guys. Like y'all need to chill y'all need to chill out a little bit. Like.
No, man, you got to be ambidextrous. You got to be.
Well, I know. I got 8. I need 20 fingers.
Yep. You need to be a spider.
Yeah,
or
I need to be Shelob.
or something from Silent Hill.
Ah, I see what you did there.
Silent Hill rumors grow as Bloober Team and
Hmm.
Konami enter into a strategic partnership.
Yeah, and for those who don't know who Bloober is, they did most recently The Medium, which is a big, they're big on horror. And they before that they did Layers of Fear 1 and 2. And they also did the Blair Witch game that came out a couple
Mm.
years ago. So they have their chops in horror. A lot of their games overall are hit or miss, but it more comes down to the mechanics. They nail the atmosphere, they nail the horror elements of it, but gameplay needs a little work here or there. But maybe Konami will help them out with this. But yeah, it's oddly specific that they would want to partner with Konami or Konami partner with them when now who knows, they could do a new horror IP. We don't know, but it's only it only raises speculation because now that Kojima's not there to do Silent Hills, they figured we want to still do something because I don't think they've done anything new with that Silent Hill IP since PT. Well, PT ended up being Silent Hills being canceled.
Yeah.
But Bloober Team and Konami have agreed on a strategic partnership that will see both companies exchanging know-how and developing select content, fueling existing rumors that they're collaborating on a new Silent Hill game. Bloober Team's president commented, "It is a historic day for me and the culmination of several years of our work. The fact that such a renowned company as Konami has decided to strategically cooperate with the Bloober Team means that we also joined the world leaders in gaming and became an equal partner for the leading players in the market." So what does this mean for Silent Hill? Well, earlier in the year, Bloober Team said it was working with a, quote, very famous gaming publisher on a new horror game, which sounds an awful lot like Konami and a certain psychological horror franchise. Not to go off on a tangent here, but his statement, like, I understand, like, he wants to play nice, but he doesn't have to kiss Konami's butt like a world renowned. I'm like, you mean used to be world renowned? Now they're just a
Yeah.
pachinko machine and Yu-Gi-Oh card distributor. Like, let's not get crazy here.
Let's call a spade, son.
Right. Just because you work with them doesn't mean you have to be all up, get the brown nose out. So, but so I like I said, Bloober Team is great with atmosphere and how they set up horror. So I think they'll nail that down. So I think they want to do with Konami, like, probably work on the gameplay, because from what I remember, Silent Hill gameplay mechanics were good. I won't say they're phenomenal or anything like that, but they were good. Now it could be a new IP, who knows? But I think Konami wants to see what a different publisher can do with this IP, with a known IP, because I think they'll
Yeah.
know that'll sell more.
Yeah, I think, Silent Hill is, their Resident Evil, essentially.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they know they try to put Metal Gear out there, after Kojima left. It didn't go well, so it's like, okay, we can't just keep going back to Metal Gear. Let's use another IP that we have. Silent Hill, okay, we'll try that. Because Castlevania, they haven't put out a Castlevania game in forever. From what I
no, like
remember.
the last one, like obviously they've done the anime for it, but the last
Mhm.
time I remember was Lords of Shadow 2 on PS3 and 360, which didn't do so hot.
Yeah. So, it's like, okay, we'll go, horror is doing well, the last 5-6 years. So let's go with
Mm-hmm.
that. Let's try Silent Hill. So hopefully Bloober, will do a good job. I haven't played anything that they've made. Like, I thought the Blair Witch game came out more recently, came out like 2019. I'm like, man, I was like, time just flies.
I know. Well, it came out 2018 for Xbox, and then I think they had like some type of year of exclusivity or whatnot, because then it came the following year to PlayStation.
Are you sure? Because it says August
I'm
30th.
pretty sure.
As Wikipedia says, August 30th, 2019 for Microsoft Xbox One, and then December 3rd for PlayStation in 2019.
Oh, it was that soon? Okay, never mind. I'm wrong then. Hey, I'm human.
You know who else is human, Derek? Phil Spencer.
Phil Spencer.
Introducing our new segment, Phil Spencer says, "Boo-doo-boo-doo-boo-doo-boo, he is talking."
I don't know if it'll be a new segment, but it's a segment for tonight. I almost wanted to put Phil Spencer runs his mouth, but I have too much respect for Phil Spencer to make that disrespectful.
Exactly.
Because he said a lot. He said a lot before E3, and he's saying a lot after E3. It's like, my God, man, did you have nothing to say at E3?
We're not even touching the tip of the iceberg, Derek. Not even the tip of the iceberg. Spencer has hinted at the Xbox hardware roadmap, says no immediate refreshes on the horizon. After acquisition spree, Spencer says telling studios they shouldn't sell is short-sighted. And the last two, Spencer says Perfect Dark's Joanna Dark offers a lot of modern opportunities for Xbox's lineup. And Spencer says Halo Infinite is not a make or break for the IP, which I highly disagree on. But
yeah,
let's go.
We'll get to that in a minute. So, of course, on IGN, a lot of this was posted on IGN because their Unlocked podcast had their 500th episode, and he was a special guest host. But regarding the console thing, during the 500th episode, Phil Spencer discussed the hardware roadmap for both consoles and noting that he does not expect either console to have a model refresh in the near future. Quote, "There's nothing that's going to come out next year that's going to make you feel like, oh, I should have waited. These are the consoles that we have in market for years, and we built them with that in mind. And I love the tech that's in there and that capability, and that's where our focus is going." With Spencer seemingly confirming that the future-proof build of Xbox of both the Series X and S, it feels unlikely that either console will see a model refresh. During the previous generation, Microsoft released the Xbox One, which lasted for 3 years until it was succeeded by the Xbox One S in 2016, and a year later with the Xbox One X. In 2019, Microsoft released an all-digital version of the Xbox One S. Quote, we don't have to go do hardware just to go do it. We want to do hardware because it actually creates new opportunities. And I've said before, it could be at the lower end and that we find more immediate opportunities. Yet Spencer did not shut down the possibility of the future hardware models launching in the Xbox Series lineup, as the company continues to explore ways to get more people playing Xbox products and services. On the question of a potential update in the future, Spencer says the team is, quote, having those conversations right now. I've said before, it could be at the lower end that we find more immediate opportunities. There's something for us to do that allows more people to play with xCloud. Is there something to do at a higher end? We're having those discussions right now. I love the capability of the hardware team, and it will be kind of a constant conversation.
Like, I love the vision that Spencer has for Xbox, and just knowing it's like, okay, it's not just about the box. He's talking about like the lower end, like xCloud. We'll get to this later on. Like xCloud is a way for more people to get in on playing games at a very, very like cheap thing. Like everybody has a phone. Like everybody all over the world has a phone. It is so hard to get a PC that is like up to specs to play things. Getting a console like we see with the new consoles is so difficult, especially with scalpers. On top of all of the production issues.
And he knows this, right? Because as you talked about in his pre show, is like, look, he's trying to make sure he appeases everyone, but not like in a PR speak type of way, right? He's trying to say like, look, we're not going to forget about our console players just because we're doing xCloud and putting more stuff like with Game Pass. But we also want to open up new markets by putting it on TVs, like do the Stadia thing. Like xCloud is open to everyone with a Game Pass Ultimate thing now. Like it's now on iPad, it's now on iPhone. So it's like, look, we can grow this market, but we're not going to forget about the people that came with us along the way.
Yeah. And I love that because it's, so many companies get, starry-eyed of what's going big right now, and they forget the diehards that have taken them to that point. So that's what I love about Phil Spencer. Like he brought Xbox from, a really bad place to where it is now. And
That's putting it lightly.
yeah, and talking about we're Sony ponies, like, so it,
Yeah.
like, we can, when we say that, like, you see good leadership from him.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the whole reason. Like I keep believing in the Xbox ecosystem, even though their exclusives aren't up to par, like pound for pound up to par with PlayStation yet. I do believe his vision will get it to where it needs to be, and that way we'll have a we'll have an interesting discussion. Probably down the road, years to come,
Mhm.
about who's doing the right thing. 5, 10 years later.
Yeah.
But for right now, he's been setting the groundwork since he came in, and now he's finally in a place to where it's like, look, now we're getting to where we need to be. Now let's expand it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but speaking of expanding, talking about going on to the selling, the when he says like studios that shouldn't sell is short sighted. Um, they've been going on a business spree. Like they haven't had any big acquisitions as of late, as opposed to their competitor, which we'll get to later on in the show. Speaking on the 500th episode, Spencer spoke at length about the role of mergers and acquisitions within the games industry, especially since Xbox and Microsoft are big facilitators of them. Quote, I know sometimes I see a dialogue out in the industry about, well, are acquisitions a good thing or a bad thing? One thing I'll put out there is starting a new studio, starting any small business, frankly, is a very risky proposition. Starting a video game studio, even more so. And if a team actually takes the risk of starting a new company, excuse me, starting a new studio, building that over years, building value to that, to say they shouldn't sell, I think is just short sighted. Spencer says that the value of growing a business to become something valuable is part of why creative teams start new studios in the first place. The immense risk it takes to start new company, is the potential reward that comes with it. And Spencer says mergers and acquisitions is absolutely a part of that. Spencer clarified that not every company has to sell and that there are a lot of studios that can fail. But successful teams growing and potentially getting acquired, quote, is a natural and healthy part of our industry. It's such a risk filled journey for them to get to the point to create real value. I'm always going to congratulate when teams get to the point where they realize that value through acquisition or just massive independent success. Many of those leaders will go off and start other things over time. It's kind of the natural turnover that happens with entrepreneurs and startup businesses. And for us, we're always out there looking at where we could continue to build our first party capability and looking at teams that we think would be good fits for us. It is certainly true to say that leaders who create successful businesses can go off and try it again. Mike Morhaime, the former Blizzard Entertainment president, recently departed the studio he co funded to start new studio Dreamhaven. One thing is clear, however, and that is that the games industry, like any other industry, will have new companies pop up. And if there's a business opportunity for a merger and acquisition, bigger companies like Microsoft, Sony, EA, or others will consider them.
Like, I 100% understand, like, where he's coming from. Like,
Yeah,
it it's important to, like, keep an open mind, and, like,
yeah,
leadership there. This is just an example. There's a local orthodontist here,
hmm
that just sold his practice, for, I won't say on air how much he sold it for, but it was quite a lot
yeah,
of money. Um,
yeah,
and, like, he's a good orthodontist, but he's an even better businessman, and he's excited about getting to go do something that is business related. So, like, he's
yeah.
ready to do that. And there are a lot of people that, yeah, they might be good at making games, but they enjoy the business aspect, the push to
Right.
make something new and everything. So,
hmm
like, you see a lot of the creative people, like, they will establish something, and then they will leave that company and go do something somewhere else because they like that challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's I mean, it's like with all things in life, it's like every once in a while, like when you do something for decades,
Hmm.
or like a long time, you kind of either get complacent or you kind of want to challenge yourself, like what we talked about with control with Remedy, right? They've done single player games, so they probably feel like they have enough ideas and enough talent on their team to try that, and they owe it to themselves. Now,
Hmm.
is every should every studio do that if it's in their best interest? No. Like, if they're not in a position where they can sell or they can take this risk, then don't do it. But like with ideas or like certain like new games or in like a genre you're not known for, you owe it to yourself to at least take that risk. And if you're a big company, you can take that no problem because you can just do a tax write-off later on it, like Google. Like, with how many things has Google thrown out there that have not seen the light of day or doesn't have a long lifespan? Google Glass is the first one that comes to mind. But they Google just makes money hand over fist, and they can just, at the end of the day, they can be like, whatever, it didn't work.
Yeah, Google Plus is definitely the one that springs to mind for me.
Yeah.
And it goes to the thought of, look at Horizon Zero Dawn. If Guerrilla didn't take the
Mhm,
chance of going away from, you know,
mhm.
what they've been known for,
Yeah.
we would have never got that. Same thing with Housemarque. If they would have kept
Yeah.
doing what they had, arcade
Arcade shooters.
shooters, they would be dead in the water. But look at what Returnal has done for them. We'll get to that here in a
Yep.
minute. But
Yeah.
it's breathed life into them. So,
I
it
mean, and for Guerrilla Games specifically, it gave Herman Holst a job promotion.
yeah, yeah. So it's
So,
it's a good thing. It's a good thing for sure.
yep. Going on to Perfect Dark, shortly after the Series X and S launched, they announced Perfect Dark, the revived Nintendo 64 shooter. Little is known about the revival, save that it will be a reboot by the Initiative, a new studio headed by veteran Daryl Gallagher. But Xbox boss Phil Spencer offered some insight into Microsoft's thinking in reviving the series more than 20 years after its original release. According to Spencer in an interview, the decision to revive Perfect Dark was made before Gallagher even joined Xbox. Gallagher has a long history in the games industry, having served as the head of development at publishers including Activision and Crystal Dynamics. Spencer says that Xbox pitched Gallagher on multiple opportunities, one of them being the opportunity to revive Rare's Nintendo 64 classic. Quote, obviously Gallagher had a great track record at Crystal Dynamics and the work that he had done with Warcraft and the reimagining of Tomb Raider. So when we were looking at different opportunities, one that was brought up was Joanna and Perfect Dark, and it was something that he was excited about in the end. According to Spencer, a key consideration in reviving Perfect Dark is being able to feature a game with a female protagonist. I think it's awesome for us. We can focus on a female protagonist in our lineup. We don't have a lot of that in our first party lineup. This has been changing in recent years. For example, Gears 5, making Kate Diaz the frontrunner, succeeded Marcus Phoenix. Um, of course, there's Hellblade, with Senua. Nevertheless, Spencer says Xbox sees an opportunity to continue building out its first party catalog on that front. Quote, I think Joanna offers a lot of modern opportunities that I love to see the team kind of focusing on having a strong protagonist. As for Gallagher, Spencer says that working on Perfect Dark wasn't an ultimatum. Quote, it didn't have to be. It didn't have to be, hey, Daryl, come and do Perfect Dark or don't come to Microsoft. But ultimately, the Initiative and Xbox opted to go forward with the new game together, and its team was formed with that goal in mind.
I don't really know who this guy is, but like he sounds like he's got a pedigree. You know,
Yeah,
Murdoch's
I
like,
mean, working for two big, Square Crystal at Square Enix and Activision are big.
yeah. And Murdoch was like, wow, Crystal Dynamics. I haven't heard that in a while.
Yeah,
Like, but like both of those, Activision and Crystal Dynamics, very large companies that made a lot of great games. Um, yeah, they did work on both of the new Tomb Raider games, Murdoch, or the 3 Tomb Raider games. Um, you know, I'm glad that it wasn't, just like, hey, you got to come here and work on this. It's like he actually wants to
Mhm.
work on it, and
Yeah,
that is going to be a good thing because I remember the reboot for the 360 and it wasn't good. It wasn't good at
no,
all.
no,
So,
especially Perfect Dark Zero.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Perfect Dark Zero was, ooh, it was bad. So finally getting a Perfect Dark that could live up to the original, like this is a reboot or whatever, but it's like when people say Perfect Dark, you're like, okay, like there are people
Yeah,
that like, oh, Perfect Dark, they're excited about it. Like Beyond Good and Evil, like people get excited about that, but like when I hear it, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that game that never will come out. Like like I
Yeah.
don't have any context for it. So like I'm glad to see that they're bringing an IP like from the grave essentially, and
Yeah.
hopefully it will turn out well and people will be into it and we'll see of more of Perfect Dark in that universe.
Yeah. Hopefully, we'll just have to wait and see. Um, what we won't have to, what's on the immediate rise in the future is this Halo thing, and
Mhm.
I agree with you. You know what I mean? Like, whether it's a make or break in Xbox is a fair point, but whether it's a make or break or fans, that's going to be another thing. There's a lot of speculation as to whether or not Halo Infinite will be the final test regarding Halo's future going forward. With Starfield, the new space IP from Bethesda, also being an Xbox exclusive, some have even wondered if that could take the crown. According to Xbox boss Phil Spencer, Halo Infinite will not be a make or break situation. Instead, it is a fresh start. In a recent interview with IGN, Spencer sat down to talk about Halo's place in the Xbox future, and he weighed in on thoughts that the success of the upcoming game could be a telltale moment of its continued existence. In an effort to, quote, just be honest, whether it's what you want me to say or not, Spencer told the site that he doesn't see Halo Infinite's impending launch that way, as a proverbial nail in the hypothetical coffin. Halo will be there 10 years from now. Is the Infinite the linchpin on whether it survives that long? Absolutely not. The game has such a rabid fan base and such a history and lore that it's just an IP that's going to be with us. We don't take that for granted, but I definitely believe in my core that is true. He added that he doesn't want the teams associated with games like Halo Infinite to feel that the fate of their future, the fate of this game, depends on all tens across the board. Instead of focusing on that, the teams are instead honing in on doing everything they can to make Infinite, quote, a game that our Halo fans will be proud of. I think that there are going to be millions of people that are going to play that game and love that game. I'm sure there will be some people that will see opportunities for us to do more, and that's just the nature of being in the entertainment business, and we accept it. That's just the kind of what we've signed up to, and we love being part of that.
Like I understand where he's coming from. Like the game
Mm-hmm.
will, live on beyond it. Like it's got all of these,
Right.
the other things, but since 343 has taken over with Halo,
Yeah.
I have felt like I have not enjoyed Halo at all. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I have not enjoyed one single game. Like the gameplay feels loose compared to Reach or any of the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
The story seems lackluster, like it's not as grounded. And yes, I'm talking
Yeah.
about Halo that has like aliens and all of this. Like I used to be a
Yeah.
big Halo fan. Like I would read
You had a
the
ton of
books.
books.
Yeah, like I would read the books. I would do all of this kind of stuff. And it just felt like once 343 got the franchise, it just wasn't as good. It wasn't as polished. And,
Right.
with, even five, I didn't even play all the way through it. Like I have played through every Halo game, and five, I was just like, yeah, I'm done. Like I can't.
Yeah.
So with Halo Infinite, it is make or break for me. Seeing the the trailer for the multiplayer, like when we did that, it was not last week, but the week before. Like I was
Mm-hmm.
so pumped for it because it was exciting to see. And like it was like this feels like Halo. Yes, there's new things, but it feels like Halo finally. And I'm hoping that the campaign gives that feeling again, that there is, there's just some, like the enemies just can't be like you have to be able to relate to them in some shape, form, or fashion. And I feel like
Yeah.
4 and 5, I wasn't able to relate at all to any of them. So I'm it's make or break for me. It might not be make or break
Yeah.
for the IP, but it's make or break for me.
Yeah, and I totally respect that, right? Like I know like people have 343 has earned their fair share of criticism, and rightfully so. Of course, and it went away. I thought I had to sneeze. Sorry. Um, um, but it's not make or break for them, and I know like people are worried about it's like, oh, I don't want to lose my job over this, and I'm glad for Phil Spencer, like from the human side, he's letting it know
Mhm.
like, hey, look, even if it's not tens across the board, you're not going anywhere, guys. Let's not worry about that. Halo's
Yeah.
not going to go by the way it's not going to be like Perfect Dark and disappear for 20 years. They're going to want to continue it. And the way they're setting up Infinite is like it's going to have a long tail. Like they're making it a live service game. Whether
Yeah.
that's good or bad is, to be determined.
Mhm.
But they are trying to future-proof the franchise with this. But no, like yes, I understand they have a rabid fan base, but anything you put at, even no matter how bad or how good it is, has a fan base of some sort. It's everything. Different things speak to different people, and I get that.
Mhm.
But at some point, if you keep under delivering, no matter how much faith you put in your team, if the money ain't there, then something's got to change.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yes.
Sonic the Hedgehog. Like if we get another Halo 5, this will be Sonic the Hedgehog all over again.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
Microsoft will spend the next 10 to 15 years trying to bring back Halo, and it will be scrutinized. So this is important. It's important for people to want to keep playing Halo. So I'm excited. I'm
Mhm.
excited that we're going to be able to jump in, and we're going to be able to play SWAT. We're going to be able to get on the Mongoose. All of these things. Like I haven't been excited about Halo since Halo Reach. Like I have not been excited about Halo since Halo Reach. So I'm excited
Yep.
for it. I'm ready for it. And I agree, Murdoch. Sonic is dead. Like it they're trying to revive him. They need the resurrection stone from Harry Potter right now. Because
Mhm.
he's been Avada Kedavra. He's like, like Voldemort's like, like he is so like over the top.
What year is it?
What?
I said, what year is it?
Guys, we're moving into one of our continuing topics, the legacy PlayStation news segment.
Mhm. PlayStation.
Haven Studio PlayStation IP to feature multiplayer and live services suggest job listings.
Yeah. Um, and this shouldn't be a surprise because again, all of it points to Sony's chain or going forward thinking plan about maybe we should get more into multiplayer things, and um Jade Raymond's newly established Haven Studios is currently beavering away on a PlayStation exclusive IP for Sony Interactive Entertainment. And according to a job listing at the company, it looks like multiplayer and live services will be a part of the package. The job listings were posted on LinkedIn and all allude to multiplayer, including the senior software engineer, which requires experience in networking, multiplayer, and live games. Meanwhile, opening for a senior core infrastructure engineer and online software engineer call for experience in working with cloud platforms. Quote, the online software engineer will be acting in the full stack composing our game, from developing and maintaining game features to instrumenting, operating, providing debugging tools and frameworks for all parts of our distributed solution. They will be involved in designing and implementing systems that can scale with large populations of players and be easily maintained in the long run.
Hmm. That seems like a lot of word salad. Don't
Yeah,
really
just a little bit.
know what's going on, but good on you, Haven. It's interesting how PlayStation is shifting really hard on multiplayer and live services. I know you mentioned it a little bit earlier in the show, but it's like
Mhm.
every single one of the studios is pushing some sort of multiplayer from their
Yeah.
IPs or a new IP. Kind of makes me a little nervous because Xbox has done this as well, and they were not received well. Like
Yeah.
their wannabe Overwatch. What was it called? Not Bloodsport. That's a Giant Climb Blood
Bleeding Edge.
Bleeding Edge. Like it's already dead in the water. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to see where this goes.
I don't think it even surfaced for air the first time.
No, it's just like a bloated dead well on the beach. It's just there. Moving on to something I am excited for. Rumor.
Mhm.
This is a rumor, so take it with a fistful of salt, guys. God of War Ragnarok gameplay is to be debuted at the upcoming Sony show.
Yeah. So of course, there's been a rumor because everyone's like, "Why Sony needs to do something?" They weren't at E3. Microsoft and Nintendo were there, and they hit it off big. And it's like, "Where's Sony?" And then they're like, the rumors started flooding. And it's like, "Look, sometime in July, like mid to late July, they're doing a state of play." And if this game is to be next year, when it was initially unveiled, we didn't see jack of it except for like a logo and the name. So I think it's time. Like, I don't know if we'll necessarily see gameplay, but I do think we see a CG trailer. Maybe it's a mix of both. But yeah, Sony is hotly tipped to unveil the first God of War Ragnarok gameplay during its in a show later this summer. That's according to reliable insider Shapeshaw_Nick, the co-founder of Xbox Era, who wrote on Twitter that he's been told by sources that we'll see Kratos' highly anticipated PS5 and PS4 title in action. Quote, "I'm being told that we'll see our first gameplay of the new God of War at Sony Show 2. Will be exciting to see."
I can't wait. And Murdoch, you got to play the game, man. You got to play the new one. It is so good.
Mm-hmm.
It is so good. I don't know. I know we've talked about it several times why you don't like it, but you need to. So
yeah,
all we got to do is wait.
Give it a...
We got to wait, right? That's all we got to do. And then
waiting on the world to change.
Yeah. We're like, no, I don't like it. You can't make me. I will make you. Part of I am the captain. Moving on.
Flex that power if you need to.
Exactly. Guess what next month's game is? Game Club. Moving on, Guerrilla Games has been reportedly working on an unannounced game since 2018.
Yeah, and this has been hot and heavy. It hasn't been talked about a lot, but it has been hot and heavy for shortly after Horizon came out. That they were already starting to staff up. They bought a new studio where it's like multi-leveled, so they can work on multiple projects at once. And there's been speculation about what it could be. Like, I know it's multiplayer centric from what I've been hearing. Everyone's thinking that they'll bring Killzone back. Some people are hoping that they bring SOCOM back, but it's a wait and see. Let's see. Guerrilla Games may be knuckling down on the development of Horizon Forbidden West for the PS5 and PS4, but the studio also apparently has a second title in production and has been working on it for around 3 years now. That's at least according to the LinkedIn profile of Simon LaRoche, an industry veteran who has over 20 years under his belt, which reveals he served as the game director in early 2018 on an unannounced title. This does back up previous reports that the Killzone studio has 2 major titles in parallel development, the first being the aforementioned Forbidden West. However, and it's anyone's guess as to what this other game may be, although we're betting that there's many of you out there who are hoping it's a new Killzone game. Regardless, if it has been in development for 3 years now, then an official reveal surely can't be too far off. It's worth mentioning that LaRoche has a number of impressive games on his portfolio, including Killzone 2, Splinter Cell Blacklist, Watch Dogs 2, and the shelved Rainbow Six Patriots, the latter 3 with Ubisoft.
Well, for me, let me get over to myself. Like, I'm curious to see what it actually is. Like, I think SOCOM might be possible. I don't think they go back to Killzone. Killzone is just not well received.
Yeah, I mean, especially after Shadowfall, like, I wouldn't. How about this? Would I be upset and would I give it a fair shot if it was Killzone? Of course, but I think the smart play is because SOCOM was beloved. I know the last game they tried to do a multiplayer centric, like not an MMO, but almost like a battle royale type of game with like a lot of players on there, and it wasn't real well received. But people are still like, now that it's had time and there's been enough like years separated between it. People are kind of wanting SOCOM to come back, so
Yeah.
I hope that's what they go with.
Yeah, because I remember playing SOCOM like when the first one came out. I played all the way through 4, and just like it is such a different kind of war game compared to like your Call of Duties or your Medal of Honor or whatever. I almost said For Honor. That's a totally different game. So like I feel like it can be in its own space and people get into it. It's not as like um realistic as Squads is on the PC and
Yeah.
everything, but I think it's kind of that in between of Squads and Warzone, that sort of deal. I think there's like that middle ground where people can like, okay, it's more realistic than this, but it's not to the extreme of Squads and everything. So
Right.
I'm down for some more SOCOM because it's been a while. Been a while.
Been a while.
It's been a while. You know what I wasn't expecting, which I thought was going to be a while as
Yeah.
well. We
Yeah.
reported on it last week, and then this week it's just like, cow. Ghost of Tsushima's director's cut for the PlayStation 5 has been revealed with a new story, content, photo mode, changes, and more.
So I'm sure, like you, the first thing I saw was when I was like, new story mode. I'm like, oh, y'all gonna get me to come back, are you? All right, cool. I'm down. Bring it. Give me more. I want to get back in that world. And I don't think, because last week we reported on like a standalone expansion like Miles Morales, like Ghost of Tsushima, being. I still think that's a separate thing, but I think this is just basically them being like, hey, we want more of this game. Like it's not big enough to do its own thing, but we're doing. I did call a director's cut, but I just thought it would come with Ikishima rather than just be its own separate thing. Didn't expect it to come as soon as August 20th. Um, at the tail end of June, Ghost of Tsushima's director's cut leaks came in fast, and now we've got information that an improved version of the PlayStation exclusive is on its way, with new photo mode updates, added accessibility options, fixed lip sync issues, 4K options, and more. It's a pretty solid deal for those that want a chance to revisit the game or to try it out for the first time. On the PlayStation blog, it was written to highlight that what Tsushima fans have to look forward to as the 1 year anniversary of the Samurai adventure looms closer. The team wanted to expand upon Jin's journey in a meaningful way. That's where the director's cut comes in. The director's cut will offer more to Jin's story as well as ways to make the actual gameplay mechanics even better. First, let's start with Iki Island. If you're a history buff, you may know that in addition to Tsushima, the neighboring island of Iki was also invaded during this time period. Today, we're excited to reveal that a whole new chapter in Jin's journey is coming and will take place on Iki. In this new story, Jin travels to the island to investigate rumors of a Mongol presence, but soon he finds himself caught up in events and with deeply personal stakes that will force him to relive some traumatic moments from his past. While the tease may seem small, the studio promises a more detailed look at Iki ahead of the game's re-release. Regarding what else is new, there are a few aspects of the director's cut that will be arriving for the first time. New Jin armor, new horse armor, new mini games, new fighting techniques, new enemies, new environments, new controller mapping options, and new trophies. PS5 exclusive features. For those aiming to experience the director's cut on PlayStation 5, there are even more new features on the way, including the adaptive trigger and haptic feedback changes, 3D audio enhancements, load times, 4K options, and 60 frames per second targeted frame rates. Played on PS4 but looking to upgrade? No worries. Sucker Punch promises that save transfers will be easy to do, making it a breeze to pick right back up where you left off. For those that have already completed the game, the new Iki Island content can be found at the beginning of Act 2. Quote, all players will receive a patch with some new photo mode updates, new accessibility options for controller remapping, as well as the option to enable a target lock-on during combat. And for the player who tweets at us all the time asking for an option to hide your quiver during gameplay, yes, we'll be adding that too. For those that, now this gives some details about how to the game and if you already own it and the upgrade options. Mm-hmm. For those that already own Ghost of Tsushima on PS4, you can pre-order an upgrade to Director's Cut on PS4 for $20. This upgrade will be available starting on August 20th. Starting on August 20th, if you bought the Director's Cut PS4, you'll be able to upgrade to the Director's Cut PS5 at any time for $10. You can also upgrade directly from the original Ghost of Tsushima PS4 to Director's Cut on PS5 for $30. Sucker Punch ended the announcement by saying that even more upgrade announcements will be revealed closer to the August 20th launch date. To refresh on what the game is about, blah, blah. Okay. I think they'll do it on the anniversary. You know, this is more info to come. I think they'll wait till the 1 year anniversary to go more in detail about it.
Yeah. Like, we're going to watch the trailer here in a second if y'all have not checked it out.
Yeah.
Murdoch, Brandon are excited in the chat. When I saw this earlier today, I was like, I was stoked because we reported on it, you know, that, you know, the new island, you know, there might be a sequel or whatever was coming out later this year. And we're like, how is that even possible? This makes more sense.
Yeah.
That is like a DLC and everything. And it's, you know, $20. That's not bad. Like, that's, you know, kind of normal DLC prices for us and everything. So if you've got a PlayStation 4, if you bought it, all you got to do if you don't have a PlayStation 5, pay the $20. You get the new island with the new content and everything. I think that's good. You know, if you've got a PlayStation 5, you can pay for the upgrade and everything for like $30. So yeah.
So, and it's well worth it. Like, you know, the first thought I thought about when I saw this and I told you about it, I'm just like, Sucker Punch is like, Zach, we never want you to finish our game. We're just going to keep bringing you back. We hear you keep wanting to play other games. Nope, you're going to continue to play ours for months to come.
You're never going to get off the islands. You're never going to leave Japan, Zach. That's
fine. I would gladly live in that world minus the Mongol invasion.
Yeah, like I'm so stoked. So Ghost of Tsushima for Gamer Club in August, says Brandon. Maybe new Game Plus mode. We'll see. We might. We don't want to go like too heavy on Sony, but we'll talk about that. Let's watch the trailer for the director's cut, guys. If you haven't seen it, this is it. Here we go.
To master your blade, you must first control your emotions.
Hotel Tsushima, says Dan. I love that right there, where it just like goes from black and white to.
Like, how can this game look any better? You know what I mean? Like, it already looks gorgeous.
Like, I can only imagine, like, with haptic feedback, how this thing would feel, and the adaptive triggers.
Yeah.
息子を守るため戦で死んだのだ。無念はない。それがもののふ。
Glad that they're like syncing up like the Japanese with this right here, guys.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Horse armor.
That's awesome.
Oh.
That's schmixy.
Yeah, I am excited about that, guys. Oh. Like the new enemies and everything, like it feels like they might be like more like spiritual kind of, you know, like kind of like how the various legends kind of like go off of like spirits and everything in the world and all of that.
Yeah.
Like I'm stoked, y'all. I'm stoked. Murdoch, I love this game. Wait, I gotta replay.
Yep.
Like, yeah, I'm excited. Don't care about what Game for Game Club is going on. I will be streaming this for sure, says Brandon.
Hey man, do you? Shoot, I'll be playing it too. I don't know if it'll be for Game Club or whatnot, but I'll be playing it for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. It will be played. It will be played over everything else.
Hmm.
Y'all already see it. Y'all already see it. Y'all.
I know Sony wouldn't do this to like cannibalize itself, but it would be real crappy if like in 3 weeks after the director's cut is like, all right, Forbidden West is coming out this day. I'm like, no, don't do this to me.
Yeah, that'd be harsh. That would definitely be harsh. Like I love like I don't want to get too much into the weeds here. But guys, if you haven't checked out Ghost, like it is phenomenal. Just
Yeah.
the ability to like you can make it your own. Like they do have a full cast like that is speaking Japanese, so you can have it all
Hmm.
subtitles now. Like the lips will actually like go together, so like it'll be even better. But you can make it look like old samurai films. Like you can put it
I
like
was
in the
just,
grain
I
and
was
all that.
literally going there. I was like, add that in with the samurai film grade, and it's like,
Yeah,
oh boy,
yeah. Like
authenticity on point.
I almost want to go back and play it like that just to be able to experience
Yeah,
it all. But the game is so beautiful in color that it's like hard for me to like go into
you're
like
right.
you know. Brandon, Zach, you need to finish Ghost first before going to Iki. Yeah, I know that. I will now change it to Japanese. Yay, do it, man. Like it would be so cool to do that. So Ghost, we're going to Iki Island, guys, August 20th. Can't get here soon enough. Derek, my question to you: are you getting the
Mhm.
upgraded version for the PlayStation 5?
Oh, for 100%. You think I have this new tech that you give me crap about not playing, and I'm not gonna get the upgraded version? You have got to be out your mind if you think I'm not.
Well, Derek, I hate to say it, but your PlayStation 5 is now mine. So I'm going to be coming to Troy and taking it.
No,
So
no, no. Let me give you the Kimbe Matumbo finger wag. No,
not
no,
my
no.
house. Moving on, guys, to another bit of big news. Everybody's excited for
Speaking of
Ghost.
another house,
Yes, another house. Housemarque has officially joined the PlayStation Studios family. The new game that they'll be working on is called Beyond Returnal and will focus on tight gameplay and is still the key focus of the game. And just have to put that
it's not
out here.
called Beyond Returnal. The next game is just to go beyond Returnal, is what they're saying.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. Well, Derek misled me here. I was reading and I was like, I'm going to just make it up. But I'm going to just say, I called it. I called it like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
You did.
Yep. I feel proud.
So
A little pat on my back.
don't know how many people wanted to listen, but it's true. And you know, and it's good on them. I know it was like, and it goes back to people are like, oh, why isn't Sony? And we'll get to it here in just in a little bit. Why isn't Sony buying up studios like Microsoft? And it's like, look, Sony is going to do stuff that works for them, and
Mhm.
they're not just that. Now, granted, Sony is a smaller company. People don't realize that they don't have throwaway money like Microsoft does.
Yep.
So they have to spend wisely, and it's like, look, we'll buy Insomniac, and they're doing stuff that people they've had a pedigree with for years. Like, yes, Insomniac has been a little bit longer in the tooth for them. But they did, with the exception of Sunset Overdrive, even though if rumors are to be true, that'll come to PlayStation now at some point. But how many PlayStation exclusives did they do before and not even being owned by Sony? And it was after, and I like how how they do this, right? Like Spider-Man 2018 comes out, and then shortly after Sony buys Insomniac, and then now Returnal comes out, that pays dividends, and they buy Housemarque. I'm sure. I wonder if that was in their contract clauses, like, "Hey, your next game does gangbusters for us. We want to buy you," and it did. Returnal did excellent for them. And at Housemarque, they've been doing stuff with Sony for years. Like we talked about how they were arcade shooters. Like how many of their arcade shooters came to PlayStation? Some of them were exclusive, and granted, they didn't hold up all well, but they took some time, focused on what they wanted to do, put out Returnal, and it paid off for them. So good on them. I'm glad, and it makes sense, right? Like it's like when Xbox started making their acquisition announcements, and they said, "Oh, we're buying Undead Labs who do State of Decay. We're buying Playground Games who did Forza Horizon." And it's like when they said that, my reaction was, "Oh, I already thought they were owned by Microsoft. Like I didn't know they weren't
Yeah.
officially owned. Like it just made sense, from that standpoint." But Herman Holst, lead of Sony Interactive Entertainment Worldwide Studios, has announced that Returnal developer Housemarque has joined the PlayStation Studios family. This move is perhaps unsurprising, given that Housemarque has been making a range of popular games for PlayStation consoles for some time now, and Sony itself labeled Returnal a success not too long ago. Quote, "Today is a big day for Housemarque and has been over 26 years in the making. Our strong partnership with Sony Interactive Entertainment started with Super Stardust HD on PlayStation 3, and since then we have made arcade-inspired games for all of the PlayStation platforms. With Returnal for PS5, our most recent release, our biggest foray into third-person action gaming solidified our voice and brand in the industry as delivering unique and quality player experiences. We are so excited to finally join the PlayStation Studios family. This gives our studio a clear future and a stable opportunity to continue delivering on gameplay-centric approaches, while we're still experimenting with new methods of narrative delivery and pushing the boundaries of this modern art form." And to touch on their game, because I'm sure this was already in the works, because they're already staffing up and they're already planning for this next game that they have in the waterworks, down the pipeline, I should say. The developer behind Returnal has revealed that its next game is set to, quote, "go beyond the PS5 exclusive roguelike as a project, with tight gameplay still very much a major factor in the experience." Speaking at an interview with Famitsu, Housemarque's co-founder and managing director, sure, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that because I'm going to butcher it. "I'm sure we'll go beyond that, and quote, I'm sure we'll go beyond that, and I want to create a gaming experience and an unforgettable experience. I think that's all I can say now, but there may be a lot of explosions, right? We can also promise tight gameplay with a good operation feeling. That's what we've been doing for 26 years.
Like
So,
for me, like I've loved Housemarque for a long time.
yeah.
I've enjoyed a lot of their games, and to finally see them become a part of Sony is such a big and cool moment. So like congrats to them. Like they took a chance
Mm-hmm.
and tried something that they weren't known for, and
Nope.
it paid off, in dividends, as you were saying. And
Yeah.
I'm excited that now they're part of PlayStation, that
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation is making moves. Like I wish they would have picked up Ninja Theory, when after they
Yeah.
made Sinuous Sacrifice and everything. But you know like getting quality like this is awesome.
Yeah. Yep. And like I said, Microsoft, and I didn't say this before, but Microsoft, a lot of their acquisitions have been to expand their library, right? Expand their portfolio, because for a while, like, granted, yes, the 360 sold gangbusters and did a lot, but, people gave them flack because the four games they were known for was
Mhm.
Halo, Gears, Forza, and Fable. One
Yep.
of those is coming back in the future in Fable. Forza has been solid, especially Motorsport's been hit or miss, but Horizon has been,
Yeah.
solid for years now. Gears is getting back in its groove. Halo, TBD. It's been on the downswing, but with
Mhm.
the promise of what we've seen from Infinite, mainly multiplayer, hopefully it'll be on that upswing. So, but they're expanding. They're trying new things. They're seeing what people want. They're trying, like, they're bringing back old IP like Perfect Dark to see, if there's still a fan base for that. So they're trying stuff, but Sony's like, we've already got our stable. We've got a bunch of, like, different genres, different studios pulling out
Yeah.
gangbusters for the most part. Now let's add to this. Let's get
Mhm.
they are adding more to the portfolio, because you can argue they haven't had an arcade style gameplay, and that's what Housemarque brings. Like,
Yep.
even though Returnal is a roguelike, you can still see arcade elements
Mhm.
in their pedigree in that game, in the
Oh
gameplay
yeah.
for that. So they're still doing stuff that, to add to the library, but they're doing something that makes sense for what the PlayStation brand and identity is.
Yeah. And it's just not just grabbing random things up. It's it's
Hmm.
moving forward. Speaking of moving forward, Sonny,
Mm-hmm.
Sonny.
Sonny.
Sonny, let me tell you about Sony. Sony has all but confirmed Bluepoint Games' acquisition in a now deleted tweet.
And again, this makes sense. Like Bluepoint has been doing great
Mhm.
with remasters. The recent one has been Demon Souls, which did gangbusters. They're already talking about their next project in the works. Some of them, there's speculation that they were hoping that they would do the Last of Us remaster, but we know that Naughty Dog is doing that internally now. But maybe they'll go from the remake studio to doing their own IP, because I mean, to go back to Microsoft, Playground Games has just done Forza Horizon, but then they built a new studio and they're working on RPGs, and that's the team that's bringing back the Fable franchise. But we'll see. And it was like, I feel bad for whoever leaked this, because Sony's like, we're not ready to announce this yet. Let's give Housemarque their Fun in the Sun, and then someone shared that, and Sony's like, who did this? We're coming for your job. You done goofed. Sony just confirmed that it has snapped up Returnal developer Housemarque, but it looks like the company has also acquired Bluepoint Games, something which has been rumored for some time now. That's at least according to a now deleted tweet by the format holder, which was supposed to market the Housemarque acquisition, but instead depicted an image that clearly welcomes Bluepoint to the PlayStation Studios family. Whoops. As mentioned, the tweet has been hastily deleted, but it clearly shows an image that Sony's team knocked up to announce Bluepoint's acquisition, and mirrors the same layout as Housemarque's, albeit with the name of the company changed, obviously. So good for them. They're not done. There's still one more studio acquisition, but it's more of like accessibility than anything else. But these two are huge for Sony, because Bluepoint, like I said, both of them have done great work. Have a great. Bluepoint's not so much. I'm sure there's probably games that I didn't realize they made that, but it's more recent history in the last 7 years. But Bluepoint has had a story history. I didn't know they've been making games for 26 years.
Yeah.
But holy cow, it just made sense for Sony strategically.
Yeah, like Bluepoint just being, other than Vicarious Visions, may they rest in peace in the ashes of in Blizzard now, but Bluepoint and Vicarious were like the two like greats at remaking games. So
yep.
I'm curious if Sony is going to make them the the remaster studio, or are they going to be like, okay, we know you're really good at this, let's see what you can actually do with making your own game.
Because this just popped in my head. It wasn't, you technically, it's not a remake, but they did the PS4 port of the Uncharted trilogy. I forgot they did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember that now. Yeah. And they did Shadow of the Colossus. They've done so many.
Shadow and Demon Souls were like the ones where they actually remade them from the ground up, and they did phenomenal jobs with them. So yeah, like you, I want to see if they're just going to be known as the remaster / port studio. It'll be interesting to see. Like, that would be a good way it would be a twofold thing. It would be one for Sony for them to bring back old Sony IPs and give them a fresh coat of paint and create a whole new fan base, or like give love to the fan base that enjoyed these back in the day. And it would also give them time while their first party studios were working on other projects that aren't ready yet, and basically like, all right, appease them, give them a remaster, give them a port of this, delay, throw the red flag in front of their face.
Yeah, and I think that would be a good way to not overwork the other studios. It's like, have Bluepoint be the one that kind of fills the gaps in between the bigger releases, and build Bluepoint up even more, where you can do one or two games at a time. Dan said, people obviously don't take these non-disclosure agreements seriously. Yeah, not a lot. They're like, oh, it's like my insider or whatever. Like,
yeah,
like I've had to sign NDAs for like different projects and everything, and it's like, I take that very seriously. I was like, I am not getting sued for like saying something that I shouldn't say.
Exactly.
So yeah. Hey, look, a distraction.
I know.
PlayStation,
like a magician, like sleight of hand.
Yeah, exactly. Shuhei would be good at that.
Mhm.
I miss you. I miss you.
I know.
Anyway, PlayStation has acquired Nix. I guess that's how you'd say that. Nixies.
Nixus, I guess.
Nixies, like pixies.
Yeah.
A PC
Yeah.
porting specialist.
Yeah, so this one was a random announcement like that, and Ghost were like the last minute announcements today. So these are not somewhat breaking news for us today. Some every once in a while we'll get thrown a bone where stuff comes up that's really important on the day of our episode, so we can get them in and not wait a week before we talk about them. But PlayStation has acquired Nixi's, a Dutch studio that specializes in porting games to PC. Announced by head of PlayStation Studios Herman Holst, Nixi's has been bought for an undisclosed fee. The studio will provide high-quality, in-house technical and development capabilities for PlayStation Studios, according to a press release. Nixi's has worked extensively with Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, and IO Interactive since forming in 1999, porting the recent Tomb Raider trilogy and the two most recent Deus Ex games to PC. Excuse me. While no specifics have been given about Nixi's work for PlayStation, it feels likely that the studio will support Sony's increased focus on porting its console-exclusive games to PC. As stated by Herman Holst, excited to announce that the talented Dutch studio Nixi's software will be joining PlayStation Studios. It's a real pleasure to welcome a team with such deep technical expertise and vast experience in the PlayStation family. I highly respect Nixi's and am excited for this very experienced team to become part of the world-class development community at Sony Interactive Entertainment. They have a passion for improving games and for delivering the best possible experience for gamers. Nixi's will be a strong asset for everyone across PlayStation Studios, helping our teams focus on their most important goal, which is to create unique PlayStation content at the best possible quality. We can't wait to get to work and are excited to bring our technical development expertise to an IP powerhouse like PlayStation Studios, says Nixi's founder Jurgen Katzmann. We're looking forward to working with some of the most talented teams in an industry to deliver the highest quality gameplay experiences for PlayStation fans. And this was my first reaction as well. To when I saw this, a PC port studio is like, wonder what they're gonna do. It's not like PlayStation is actively ramping up. Exactly, they can't be wanting to ramp up port production of their IP to PC. Nah, that's not them.
Nah, I don't see it happening. I think that's that's hogwash.
And this comes off the heels of last week we reported on that Ghost of Tsushima's only on PlayStation branding has been removed from box arts. So speculating that it would be the next game to port, whether it's the next game immediately or like down the pipeline next game, that they're thinking about porting to PC. It looks like it's in the works, and them buying this studio only will help. And I'm sure I don't know how long it takes for and who does the PC ports, like who did the PC port for Horizon, who did the PC port for Days Gone. Like I'm not sure how that all works. I know 505 Games did the PC version of Death Stranding, but that's an outlier because they're not owned by PlayStation. They just did a collab with Kojima on PlayStation. So I'm not sure who handled the PC ports, but maybe it took too long. Maybe they're like, hey, if we buy the studio, they have the assets that we can churn these out faster, maybe.
Yeah. Like I'm glad to see it because, PlayStation games coming to PC, it just opens up a little bit more. If you would have told me this 10 years ago, I would have been like, you're crazy. Don't do that.
Right.
But,
Shu would never approve.
Yeah. But it's reaching another group of people that want to play these games, and it's not coming to another console; it's coming to the PC, and I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see it.
Me too. So good on them. I was just going to say two confirmed, one supposed rumored acquisition that all makes sense for Sony. One helps for the one side of the board, the other ones help just build the portfolio.
Yep. Last bit of Sony news for the day. Sony is not in an arms race with Microsoft, says Herman Holst.
Yeah. And in here, Head of PlayStation Studios Herman Hulst said that Sony is not in an arms race with Microsoft and other platform holders in regards to studio acquisitions. During an interview with British GQ, Hulst was asked if he saw the recent increase in studio acquisitions from Microsoft, Facebook, and Sony as, quote, a bit of an arms race. Holst rejected the idea, pointing to Sony's very specific choices when it comes to acquisitions. We're very selective about the developers that we bring in. Our last new acquisition was Insomniac for $229 million in 2019, which has worked out very well. I'm looking forward for other people that have a similar set of values, similar creative ambitions, and work very well with our team that we can further invest in and help grow as creators. It's not like we're going around and just making random acquisitions. That's very, very targeted. They're very, very targeted acquisitions of teams that we know well. Which the amount of collaboration between our external development group and Housemarque on the technical side, the production management side, and even on the creative side has been so deep. So for us, it just makes so much sense to do that. In contrast to Sony's latest two acquisitions, Microsoft has made multiple purchases over the last few years. Buying. Okay, so that's the end of that. Which goes back to what I was saying about these acquisitions. Sony's not just buying them up because, yes, they're expanding the portfolio, but they're doing it because it makes sense for their identity and their branding. And some people are going to be like, oh, well, you're not in an arms race, but yet you just made 3 studio acquisitions in a week, and you're not in, and they could see, like, the way that quote is structured, they could see it as a slight to Microsoft, who are just like going on a spending spree. And it's like, Microsoft under Phil Spencer has been getting serious about trying to be competitive again and not just resting on their laurels and doing something for gaming just besides hardware. Sony, again, is just doing it because they are wanting to be smart because, like I said, not as big as Microsoft. They don't have as deep as pockets. So they can't they can't afford to go on a spending spree. So they're going to do it smartly.
Yeah, and why not do it smart? Find the purchases that make sense for you and what you want to see your company be 5-10 years down the road. You could buy up a lot of studios, but that doesn't mean that they have the track record to actually put out good games. Like you see the acquisitions they're making. Housemarque is proven. Bluepoint is proven. You think about Insomniac. They bought Insomniac. Insomniac has made so many games for them. They're proven. So it just makes sense. Like they don't have the throwaway money, like you were saying. They're making the smart decisions on what to actually do and when to do it. So,
and you look at, I know they just bought Housemarque and supposedly Bluepoint and whatnot, and so they haven't had it. Yes, Returnal did great. Demon Souls did great, but since their acquisition, I want to see how they're going to go, like, with their game development moving forward, because we're already seeing ROIs with Insomniac. Miles Morales was great. Rift Apart is fantastic. So they're already paying dividends with that acquisition. So I look forward to seeing what they can do with Sony money going forward.
Yeah. I'm excited. Moving out of our Sony news for the week, this is something that just broke that Brandon actually brought to my attention. Star Wars: The Old Republic will be celebrating its 10 years with an epic Legacy of the Sith expansion. And
oh, wow.
We're going over to StarWars.com for this.
Okay.
BioWare announced today that it will begin a period of celebration for the 10th anniversary of Star Wars: The Old Republic with Legacy of the Sith, a major expansion that will kick off an exciting new time for the critically acclaimed MMORPG. Legacy of the Sith will continue the game storyline, sending players on a military campaign to secure the aquatic planet of Manon. Awesome, because Manon is from KOTOR, the very first one, for their faction as they uncover the ultimate plan of Darth Malgus, the renegade Sith. The expansion also introduces redesigned combat styles, a new feature that blends class abilities, ooh, nice, an array of quality of life upgrades. Combat styles will allow players to independently choose a specific class story and combine it with ability sets from the other related tech or force-wielding classes. New and old players alike can can look forward to the revamped character creation system featuring greater customization than ever before. And several game elements have been overhauled, including global rebalancing of gameplay and enemy encounters, updates to itemization, and character loadouts. Look for Legacy of the Sith this holiday season on PC via Star Wars SWTOR.com and Steam. And look for more updates throughout 2022. That is
Yeah.
exciting
I was
because
gonna say,
we haven't got an update for SWTOR in a long time. And
yeah,
it's not just, okay, they're putting another, another area that you get to go to, another story thing, which is great. Them doing it where like you can pick different things to bring into like your character, like different class aspects and everything. That is going to be awesome because there are aspects of, like, I play a Sith Inquisitor, like it's all Force lightning all the time. So there's some things that I would like to have that are not with my character. I also have a Jedi character that I absolutely hate playing as because it's boring. I'm like, I want it to be more like my Sith character. So I'm excited for that. I'm not really sure what all the overhauling in different aspects are going to be, but I'm really, really excited for that. Brandon says there was a recent one that I haven't played yet. Okay. Well, this one's big. This is the 10-year anniversary. So I am excited, and it's all about the dark side. And going back to Manon, or technically would be before you go in Knights of the Old Republic. Like, Manon is a really cool planet. So I'm curious to see what all is going to go on there. So I am excited.
did they say? I don't know if I missed it or not. I'm sorry. Did they say when this is dropping?
This will be later holiday season of.
Okay.
It says this holiday season will be when it drops.
Okay. So I probably between late October and mid-November.
Yeah. So I will be hopping back on some SWTOR to get my character ready for the new expansion. So
Yeah.
I've been itching to play, but there's so much to play right now. It's kind of hard to make it all happen.
Well, and I was just gonna say, unless they add more Ghost of Tsushima, maybe you'll get to play it by holiday.
Yeah, exactly. They keep adding islands. I'm never going to get there. All right.
Right.
We have finished the big discussions. Now we're getting into our quick hits. Guys, Julie Binger, are you ready for the quick hits?
Oh yeah. I'm ready. I'm ready to hit them out really fast. So, to get us started, Destiny 2 Season of the Splicer update will bring back Moon and Dreaming City weapons. Assassin's Creed Valhalla director joins EA Motive to work on an unannounced game. Metro developer 4A Games is staffing up for a new IP. Vita's messaging system is now offline, as promised by Sony. Marvel's Avengers will allow players to play as multiples of the same hero later this month. Think of like early Overwatch when you get to play as 6 McCrees or 6 Winstons or what have you. Gang Beasts now has crossplay, but only for Xbox and PC players. You can now play as Loki in Fortnite. Xbox Cloud Gaming is now fully available to all Game Pass Ultimate subscribers. Predator Hunting Grounds adds Isabel and Headquarters map in latest DLC. That game's been kind of dormant. I need to go back and play it, to at least play the new map to see how that is. Former BioWare head Casey Hudson announces Humanoid Studios and working on a creative new IP. Doom Eternal's next-gen upgrade is out now, so you can get that on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. Elder Scrolls 6 will also use the Creation Engine 2 like Starfield is using. Magic Legends is shutting down on October 31st. Mass Effect almost got a first-person Nintendo DS spin-off. Diablo 4 will feature fully customizable characters and armor. Aliens Fireteam Elite will have cross-gen play, but cross-platform play is not planned. EA and Smite developer signed deal to potentially bring TV-style commercials to games. It's the end of the month, or well, technically it's the start of a new month, but technically it's a change for Xbox games with gold for the July 2021. The entire month starting today, you get Planet Alpha, From July 16th to August 15th, you get Rock of Ages 3, Make and Break. From July 1st to July 15th, you get Conquer Live and Reloaded. And then from July 16th to July 31st, you get Midway Arcade Origins. And then, of course, this upcoming Tuesday, you will get new PS Plus games for July 2021. For PlayStation 5, you get A Plague Tale Innocence. For PlayStation 4, you get Call of Duty Black Ops 4 and WWE 2K Battlegrounds.
To go off of Dan's comment, no commercials. With EA bringing that in to games, like we've already had like ad placements in video games for a long time. Fight Night was like one of the worst about that. Fight Night 3 specifically, if I remember right. Yeah, you already have enough of that on Facebook. Yeah, like I don't want to play a game and then be interrupted playing the game with a commercial. It's like,
but Zach, it's EA Sports. It's in the game.
Like, it just, that's annoying. That's really annoying.
Considering who this is coming from, are you really shocked that they're trying to do this?
I'm not shocked at all. I'm 100% not surprised at all. I just hate it. I just hate it with a burning fiery passion. Like, I think that will replace my hate for loot boxes and microtransactions.
You know, the thought that came across my head just now was like, they're going to do the ultimate EA meta. They're going to do advertisements for loot boxes and microtransactions during the game. It's like, hey, you're enjoying this game, but don't have enough time to commit to leveling up your players? Buy these booster packs and be able to progress faster with your development.
Dude, I even thought about, like, you know how games like update and all of that? Like, they literally could be updating and putting new commercials in. Like, they could be selling commercial space throughout the life of the game.
They could do it every month because, like, I watch Xbox's YouTube channel, and I always watch their This Week in Xbox news segment that highlights like all the week stuff in Xbox. And at the, they always have like a monthly, presented by such and such. Like this month they're doing Fortnite. Well, I don't know but all of month of June they were being promoted by Fortnite, the latest season, like the Summer Bash event, and they always have a little promo at the very end of the video detailing like the new stuff. So I could see them doing that. It's like every month, let's change out a sponsor.
Yeah, and there's no limit. There is no limit. So that kind of makes me a little nervous. But on an interesting note, Casey Hudson making his own studio, like I am super excited about that because Casey like led a lot of the really good games that came out of BioWare, so really excited about that. And then AC Valhalla director leaving to join EA, was not expecting that. Was not expecting that.
Nope, not. But then again, probably with all the backlash that Ubisoft as a company is facing, I don't blame him for wanting to get out.
Yeah, very true, very true. And then the last thing, Sony. I'm going to the one for this. Sony, stop killing the Vita. Stop doing it.
I was wondering.
Stop doing it. Because the Vita lives. It's literally in the name.
Vita means life.
Literally in the name. Come on, Sony.
Two things I wanted to ask you. One thing was, how does the Marvel Avengers update pan for you? Like, I don't know. Like, I'm an Iron Man person, so I don't mind. But so I haven't run across anyone that the last time I played that just I want to play as Iron Man. Let me play Iron Man. So does that do anything for you in terms of like, I get to change out heroes when I want to now instead of having to fight for it?
What would be crazy is like if you just like had 4 Hulks.
Right.
It's like 4 Hulks. Like nothing's gonna get past you then.
Nope.
Like it's interesting. Like I think it's a way to get people in there, to try it out, even if it's for the memes, if you will. Like it's a way to get players back into the game. So it's not a make or break for me. It's interesting, but like, you like playing as Iron Man. I absolutely hate playing as Iron Man. Kate Bishop was actually really interesting. The little bit I got to play with her, like her skills and all of that are really cool, like way cooler
Mhm.
than Hawkeye's. Like really, really dope.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah,
Interesting.
I was really liking him, really liking him. So all right, guys. Well, that does it for this episode of the Nerd Cave News. I hope that you enjoyed it. Me and Julie Binger, we just knocked it out of the park. We knocked it out of the park,
We
guys.
did.
Guys, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, all of those things down below. Make sure to tune in on the next episode so you don't miss out on anything. This has been Zach.
And Julie Binger.
Y'all have a blessed week. Bye.